What's going on YouTube? In this video, I want to share with you Fulfilled by Merchant, including some of the equipment, the process, and some things that you're going to run into and how to deal with them. Welcome back. If you're new to this channel, my name is Jake Diego, and on this channel I talk about ways you can improve your Amazon business, share with you some of my goals, and some personal development things sprinkled in. Today we're going to get into this awesome barrage of envelopes and boxes and equipment all behind me. So Fulfilled by Merchant. Why would you want to do Fulfilled by Merchant? Well, when there's opportunities. For example, the deadline for FBA in 2019 was December 9th, I believe. After that point, if you sent a shipment in, there's a pretty good chance it's not actually going to get into your inventory in time for Christmas, which means Fulfilled by Merchant or self-fulfilling orders is going to give you an edge, because FBA, once they run out of stock, will have no moves because it takes so long to process it during that time of year. Another opportunity may be during some type of shortage, or Thanksgiving, New Year's, St. Patty's Day. Those types of instances where the demand far exceeds the supply. So talking about FBA, you're basically putting these orders up on Amazon's platform as you would with, say, eBay. The customer buys the order, then you fulfill the order, then you send it in. On the other hand, with Fulfilled by Amazon or FBA, the same process is happening with the customer ordering from you. However, Amazon is then finding that item, packing that item, and sending that item to the customer. The easiest way to do FBM is, again, put up that order, and then when the order comes in, you'll fulfill it, which means you'll print that document with the postage. You'll then cut it out, put it on a package, and send it to that customer. That's all well and good, but it does get a little bit tedious after a while, so that's where the Zebra printer comes in. LP2844Z label printer. And what it does is it has a current that runs through on the thermal label itself, which, here's an example of one. And it'll actually print on that label whatever is needed in terms of the return address, the address it's going to, in terms of the tracking ID. And the best part about this is it's a peel and stick situation, whereas with the paper, you print out the order, you can fold it or whatever to make it just the label, or you could cut it, and then you'll actually put a bunch of tape on that label to make it so it all adheres to the actual envelope. This time around, you're going to be looking at a couple new things. First new things is poly bags. I've been adding clothes to the Merchant Fulfilled, especially when it's after a Nike Friends and Family or an event with, say, Kohl's, where they have a good deal on clothing, because you want to get it in there before the FBA offers come in. These poly bags are awesome for clothing because clothing doesn't need anything that's breakable. But in the past video for this, we were talking about bubble mailers. We had the bubble mailers, and now we're using the poly bags as well because, again, clothing doesn't need it. The basic premise of these bubble mailers and this poly bag is you want to make sure that your item fits in the bag, because it's so easy. You just find that item that fits in the bag, put it in the bag, rip the self-sealing thing on, seal it, and then peel and stick your postage onto that item. Or in the case of paper, cut it and stick it out, fold it and stick it on, that kind of thing. For a bigger item, a bigger bag. Same concept with the poly bags. It's super easy to use because it has that peel and stick. It just sticks right on there. Another difference between the previous video of FBM and now actually comes in the priority section of this. So with the US anyways, we have all these priority options we can use. We have flat rate envelopes. We have legal flat rate envelopes, which give you an edge that I'll explain here in a second. You have the padded priority express, regional A, B, a whole bunch of different options for whatever item you're going to be shipping. And that's nice because you don't have to go and buy the bubble mailers and buy the poly bags. You already have them. Or in the case of boxes, you don't have to buy them. And box resizing, by the way, is a pain in itself, but let's jump into a video. see, big pain in the butt. The first new part of this is there's two different flat rate envelope mailers. There's actually the legal size and then the standard legal size. So as you can see, it's quite a bit bigger, which this is nice because if you already have something going on priority anyways, and you want to stick it in a bigger mailer, or it's already over the 15.9 ounce restriction on first class mail, you can use these. These can fit some pretty big items in it. Pretty amazing. I wouldn't say a hoodie or sweatpants. For hoodies and sweatpants though, they also have these mailing envelopes that are made out of Tyvek. So this is what I've been using for hoodies, sweatpants, that kind of thing. Super, super easy. Stick it in there, peel and stick, put the postage out front, and it's waterproof. You have a pretty good idea of the different kinds of envelopes in that. Let's talk about some of the issues with this. The first issue that's going to come up more frequently is cancellations. Somebody's going to message you and say, I want to cancel this order for whatever reason, and hopefully you haven't shipped it yet. If it's in the case of you haven't shipped it yet, then simply, thank you for contacting us directly. I understand that you want to cancel this order. It's been canceled. You should receive a refund shortly. Please holler at us if you don't get that refund. On the other side though, if that person wants to cancel and you already shipped it, then you have to wait until the item actually arrives to the person and then ask them to do the return and get the item back to you. So cancellations is probably the most common. The second most common thing is people don't get the items. I'm not going to judge a person as a bad character just because they said that. Maybe their neighbor picked it up. Maybe somebody actually stole it. Maybe a family member grabbed it up. But with this family and this friend and this neighbor thing, that's how I approach that situation. Thanks for contacting us directly. I understand that your item isn't found and the tracking shows it's delivered. Have you checked with a roommate, a friend, a family member, anybody living with you? Have you checked with a neighbor? We find that oftentimes when people find things missing, that a neighbor, a friend, a family member has that item. And then I send them that message and I wait for them to respond back. Now this isn't always going to be the case. They may not find the item and you may have to issue a refund. That is probably the biggest downside to fulfill by merchant, and that is when somebody loses something, unless it was a signature delivery item, you are going to refund that person if they don't find the item. So you always have to know what the biggest downside. To recap, you have cancellations, you have missing items. Third most common FBM thing is they want to return the item, which is pretty standard because they'll initiate a return on Amazon and then the postage will be generated automatically and sent back to you. Once the tracking shows delivered, Amazon automatically refunds that person for you in an auto fashion. The kind of the lead up to this is if someone wants an exchange or someone wants to swap items. Now Amazon's system doesn't do too hot with that, so I simply tell that person to just return it for a refund and you'll have to reorder it. Not in those exact words, but to that effect. So now that you understand what the issues are and how to fix them, as well as the materials to do so, try some FBM sometime. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. If you do have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below.